So my program is noise-induced hearing loss, and it's meant for middle school children. So, humans have a complex system that we use to hear. We've got all this different anatomy going on. It's not just your ears. And as part of that complex system, we have tiny hairs called hair cells that pick up the sound. So if you zoom in here, you can see these little hair cells, and that's what they look like up close, okay? Well, there's two things we need to know about, our hearing in these hair cells. So one, these hair cells are pretty delicate. And two, we're constantly being exposed to noise, whether it's yelling or we're going to concerts, or even if you're hearing the microwave running in the background or the clocks ticking in class. We are constantly hearing noise. Our hair cells are constantly exposed to noise. So, if those two facts are true, let's play a game to see what happens over time. So, this demonstration would probably take longer with actual kids, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to keep rolling with it. So, let's say you're talking loudly in the cafeteria. Let's just remove one. All right, our Jenga tower is doing just fine. This is our hair cell. We've just removed one of our blocks, but it's still working. Your hair cell's still fine. It's still doing what it needs to do. It might be damaged a little bit, but you're not necessarily noticing that, okay? Well, let's say you're going to some concerts and, I don't know, seeing fireworks or something like that. Let's move one of these instead. All right, we are slowly removing different blocks as we're being exposed to noise, and our hair cell is slowly but surely kind of deteriorating and getting damaged over time. So as you keep doing these different things that are exposing our hair cells to noise, we're just damaging it more and more little by little, and eventually it might get damaged so much that, boom, it gets destroyed. So, as you see here, that's kind of what happens over time with our hair cells. So, how can we prevent this loss? Does this mean we need to be quiet by ourselves all the time, never hanging out, never going to fun concerts, anything like that? No, that's not what that means at all. We just need to be careful about how we choose to take care of our hearing. Ooh. So, there we go. Number one, turn down the volume, okay? Whenever that's an option, whether it's in your headphones, in your AirPods, or when you're listening to music in the car, or just having a speaker at home when you're having a party, turn down the volume, okay? I know it's fun to blast the music, but your ears are going to thank you later if you just turn down the volume to a more appropriate level, okay? And when you can't avoid the noise, try to protect your ears. So that can look like wearing protection, whether it's earmuffs or earplugs, and it can also look like sitting further away from the noise source. So maybe when you're going to a basketball game, you choose not to sit next to the speaker where the announcer is, and give yourself a little more distance. And what I love about this slide is that it's not just concerts. Like, look at these people hanging out here. They're doing some sort of water boat tour, and there's a big fan. You're going to want to have earmuffs on. So it's not just music, it's also just loud environments as well, okay? Another thing you can do if you can't avoid the noise is take breaks. So maybe you're at a really loud basketball game, people are cheering. Maybe you're at prom and the dancing and the music is really loud. Maybe you've been blasting music in your headphones. Try to take breaks in between to give yourself time to just rest. The same way when you're running a long time or exercising, you might take a little bit of a break in between each set of like some sort of workout. I like to think about putting yourself in a situation like this nice little forest and path where it seems quiet and just really nice to step out and give your ears a break. And lastly, what I want to talk about too is you can be part of the solution. So use an appropriate volume when you're talking with others. I know from my own experience, and I see it from my middle schoolers in the hall, that when you talk, you might notice that someone else nearby is talking, and you kind of compete for the space. So they start talking louder so they can be heard, but then you start talking louder. And this can all be helped if you just avoid talking over one another. That can help, but also just try to keep an appropriate volume in general, whether that's in the school bus or when you're in the cafeteria talking with your friends or even in the halls. All right? So, what can we conclude from this? Is that how you take care of your hearing now will affect your hearing later. So let's make sure we're taking steps, that way we don't knock down